Away from Nigeria, Chancellor Olaf Scholz and Germany's 16 state leaders have agreed on a gradual plan to lift most coronavirus restrictions by March 20. Germany recorded over 200,000 cases on Thursday, and with the seven-day average at about 170,000 cases, COVID infections are beginning to fall, and almost 75% of the population has been vaccinated at least twice. Deutsche Welle correspondent Arthur Sullivan joins us right now from Berlin with more. Hi, Arthur. The German government made an important announcement this week that they aim to lift almost all coronavirus rules by the end of March. What has been said?
Yes, so for much of 22, Germany has had somewhat stricter regulations than a lot of its European neighbours when it comes to the coronavirus. But we do seem to finally be seeing a change based on what's been announced this week from the federal government. So what's been said is that over the next month or so, we will see a gradual reduction in the various restrictions, with the aim being that by March the 20th, almost all contact restrictions will have been removed, enabling German society to move on as best as it possibly can from the pandemic. So over the last while, there's been significant requirements in terms of vaccination and testing requirements to determine where people living in Germany can and can't go, whether that's to restaurants, bars, football stadiums, even in workplaces. But that's gradually going to change. So the first step will be that non-essential shopping, you will no longer need a proof of vaccination or a test to go to certain shops, as has been the case for the last while. Then from March the 4th, you will be able to go to more bars and restaurants without certain testing or other requirements. And then the aim is then finally by March the 20th, almost all restrictions will be gone. So a significant change in TAC. For example, at the moment, football stadia in Germany are at much reduced capacity, but finally within a month or so we will see full stadiums again. So that's the kind of level of change we're going to see, and that's why this week has been an important one in terms of Germany moving on from the virus.
And things are looking up to at least some normal. But Germany has also been slow to loosen restrictions compared to many European neighbours. What has changed?
Yes, Germany has been somewhat of an outlier compared to many of its European neighbours, particularly throughout this year, 2022. What has changed? Well, not a huge amount has really changed when you look at case numbers. Case numbers are still very high in Germany, still coming in at around 200,000 cases a day, although slowly but surely the rate of increase has been falling, and now we do seem to be finally seeing case numbers gradually falling themselves. So what the Minister for Health, Karl Lauterbach, has said is that the peak of the recent Omicron wave appears to have been reached. But I think what has also changed is that public opinion has reached a point where a prolonging of restrictions and a prolonging of the rules would be a harder and harder sell, both for citizens and for businesses. So it was inevitable that Germany would have to announce some sort of a pathway out of the restrictions, and that is what obviously has had to happen and what has happened here. A cautious tone has still been emphasised, though, by both the Chancellor Olaf Scholz and the Health Minister Lauterbach. What's important in this context is that Karl Lauterbach, the health minister, he's been in place since December. He has shown throughout the pandemic, even before he became the minister, extreme caution in terms of the coronavirus. And that has been the case since he became health minister, even with this Omicron wave.
But, you know, even if restrictions are ending, the pandemic is very much still with us. How bad has the recent wave been for the country?
Well, given the sheer scale of infection numbers that we've seen in Germany, bear in mind we've seen several million over the past few weeks, this recent wave would appear to have been very bad, although when we look at the numbers of those who have sadly died from the virus compared with this wave this time last year, it thankfully has not been as severe. So while there have been significant numbers of deaths over the last while, relatively speaking, when we compare it to the amount who died this time last year and also the fact that there are far more cases this time, it has been much less severe, as we have come to expect with the Omicron variant. Most of those who have become seriously ill or have sadly died in the last while have been unvaccinated, and that is one of the last remaining questions facing German society and facing the government when it comes to how we proceed in the fight against the coronavirus.
Deutsche Welle correspondent Arthur Sullivan joining us there from Berlin. Thank you.